Okay.
Oops.
Good morning, everyone. It's the 2nd of December, 2025.
Good morning, brothers
Good morning.
and sisters around the globe. It is another, as they say, awesome, amazing day in the universe.
Let
It
us know
is.
where you're watching from. Put it in the chat, please. Also, you can put their hashtag KMT for what are we giving away today?
We
Are
are
we giving
going
any?
to give away.
Are we giving any?
Maybe we should samples. We're going to give away some samples. I'm going to buy some samples of Siouxie's product, which we're not going to hear about until the end of the podcast, the end of the live stream.
All right. So hashtag KMT. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat with QQQ in front of it. And I'm coming from Central Florida. Where are you, Siouxsie, today?
I'm also in Central Florida in Clearwater, Tampa Bay. Yeah.
All right. And Dr.Kiltz is in Sarasota. And
Is this Central Florida? I mean, what are we?
No, we don't consider Sarasota Central Florida.
Am I south? I don't know.
You're a little bit south, just a wee bit.
I'm a kid from Southern California.
That's where you're from? Southern California? I'm also from Southern California, originally.
Kid from LA.
Yeah, I was born in LA.
Wow.
Where? What hospital?
I actually don't think it exists anymore. I was born in 1971 in Hollywood.
Okay.
I've looked on my birth certificate and I can't find it because
I was born at Queen of Angels Hospital, which you might consider Hollywood. It's close enough. 1956, and Hollywood. I mean, the hospital, the building is there. I think it's converted into what's L. Ron Hubbard? What are you, a Scientologist? But also, I mean, the Cedars of Lebanon.
L. Ron Hubbard way.
Also, Kaiser was there. Yeah, I don't know which one.
Kaiser's across the street.
Yeah, we're close. We're right down. I was there in 71. I was still in high school. I graduated high school in 74.
Wow. Yeah, no, I was born by C-section from my mom. And then I was never breastfed, which is awesome. Like she just stacked. Oh, and she smoked through her whole pregnancy with me because it was 71. And all my friends have names like Cricket and Dove and Grasshopper and,
Because you were born in Hollywood.
In 71.
Well, it was the height of the hippie.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, the good thing was I didn't grow up eating a lot of sugar and I didn't grow up eating a lot of junk food necessarily, relatively speaking.
All right. So, Siouxsie, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. Tell us about your stories of healing. And at some point, we're going to talk about this thing that I just showed. You know that this is my wife's who likes to use that, but
yeah. So my name is Siouxsie, and I am 54 years old, and I have a loose connective tissue disease called lipedema with a secondary lymphedema. So I've spent most of my life, especially my adult life, battling excessive weight gain and morbid obesity, but like with massive systemic inflammation. And a little over a decade ago, I was at the point where my mobility was no longer really an option. And it didn't matter how I was eating. I was still falling apart. Literally, I would say at the cellular level, all the way up. And I've done every diet you can imagine. And I've tried everything to, I was vegan for 4 years. I was a whole food, plant-based vegan. And which is actually what led me to the critical stage, which helped me get my lipedema diagnosis. And then I was vegetarian for another 3 years. as well. But and when I first started eating that way, obviously I felt great because I was no longer eating the standard American diet. And but then my body started falling apart, and it was an interesting journey to get to where I am now, because I'm a deep diver and a deep researcher. So like my actual doctor was one of the physicians from the documentary Forks Over Knives, which is the plant-based documentary. And at one point, I'd already been whole food plant-based for a good 3 years, and all of my major nutrients were going down by lab result. Even though my cholesterol was super low, which they were very excited about. But all of my other labs were going down. And I remember asking him, like, my doctor, like, I don't understand what's happening. I am getting sicker and sicker. I feel horrible. And per my labs, like, my calcium's going down, all of my vitamins are going down, and my nutrients. And you know what he said to me? He said, okay, so when you do your spinach smoothies in the morning, what I need you to do is I need you to chew them, because what's happening is you're not absorbing all the nutrients because you're not letting the spinach and all of the nutrients break loose and commingle with the enzymes in your saliva. And I was like, wait, what? Like I gotta blend the smoothie, and then on top of it, you want me to chew it? Which of course was very relevant later when I tried to go hardcore keto and eventually carnivore. And then I found out about oxalate dumping, which I won't talk about right here, but it was a pretty, I mean, I should talk about it. So I will say one thing. So I have used myself as a experimental subject for decades, trying to fix whatever is wrong with me. But I'm also a nerd. Yes, that book. Thank you. Yes. And I saw Sally this weekend, a couple weeks ago at
Hack Your Health.
Hack Your Health, and which was amazing because I thought I was in the middle of a Lyme flare, and she informed me that I was oxalate dumping like newly, which I was shocked because I thought I'd already gone through that part of the journey. But then anyway, I will tell that story because it's really important. So I was keto. Obviously I came off of a vegan diet. I found a guy who specialized in cellular biology, and he put me on a program because I was so sick. My memory was going. I was falling apart. Literally, I was in systemic pain level of a 7. This was when I was vegan, and then I'm transitioning to vegetarian. I had a bunch of surgeries for my lipedema, which helped, but at the end of the day, it would be better if you actually fix what's going on below the surface. But it would be a few years before I'd know that. Anyway, I was having a really, really hard time. And one thing that I realized was, so when I was whole food plant-based, I was asked to come to the clinic in Northern California called True North, which is where they do medically supervised extended water fasting. So I did a 40-day water fast at True North. This was when I was vegan. And it restored my memory and pockets of my memory that actually astounded me. And it changed things for me biologically that were amazing. What I was being told while I was there was the reason for this was really just because I was giving my body a rest. And of course, they broke the water fast with celery and watermelon juice. And then starches, and it's like a 10-day refeeding, and it's just carbs. And what was interesting was I swelled up like a balloon at the end of my water fast, and I gained 1 pound a day for the next 30 days because I was still whole food plant-based. I can't even imagine what would have happened having been in such a deep ketogenic state if I'd broken that fast with bone broth and with protein sources. Would have probably been amazing. Anyway, but that's what got sort of the keto thought in my head, that even though I was vegan, it couldn't go away, because I knew that I was in a ketogenic state when I was fasting, and I saw the results myself, like parts of my memory completely restored. It was shocking. And, anyway, it was interesting. And I was told it's not the keto. That's not the part. It's the giving the body a rest. Anyway, and then my nutrients continued to go down and I wasn't doing well. So anyway, that's what led me to this whole journey, and then researching the ketogenic diet. And that was where I found my happy place. And I remember the first time that I had ate again, and I had started craving it. And the coach that I was working with was like, so I'm going to ask you to eat some red meat. And I was like, okay, you didn't even have to like talk me into it. And I did, and it felt great. And my body felt nourished for the first time in a very, very long time. And I started out going hardcore keto to reduce the inflammation, and it worked over time. So I went carnivore, and the oxalates were real. And I remember I was part of like the steak and butter gang.
How long ago?
I'm sorry, what? Dr.
How long
Nelson?
ago did you go keto?
So
Or
I've been
carnivore,
keto.
carnivore.
I've been keto for over a decade now,
Uh-huh.
I would say.
And carnivore?
And carnivore, probably in the last 3 to 4 years. I'm not 100% carnivore because I still have 2 specific situations that occur for me. And I really do not thrive on 100% carnivore. And here's what I just want to say something, because I think this is really important. I think that meat-based diet is absolutely, and animal-based is absolutely the human diet. And I am like I said, probably 97%. Like my total carbs every day are probably like maybe 10. And that's just because I just don't, I don't want plants really, but even right now, I am eating a small dose of oxalates every day because I mean, you saw me, Aaliyah, when we were at
Hack Your Health.
Hack Your Health. And you can even see like this slight delay that's going on in my communication. Like I am I'm on the outside finally of a oxalate dump that I had no idea was going on. I thought I was in a Lyme flare because I do have long Lyme. I found out in 2022 that I have Lyme. I got it very successfully into remission. And then I got COVID. And then after COVID, it can stir up Lyme and a million other things, right? But my body has been just over time continuing to clean my system out and restore my cellular health. That is really, 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 at the end of the day, what I care about more than weight loss, because I don't believe that a sick body will give up the weight because it's protective, especially with a condition like lipedema. So for me, I have a 0 sugar life for sure. I don't eat carbs that create sugar in my body, and I don't eat alternative sweeteners that people have. I care more about blood sugar response and keeping my body as balanced as possible. And that has been really, really successful for me. But I was so hardcore carnivore almost for the last couple bits. 2 years ago, I started oxalate dumping. That was when I was at KetoCon, when it was in Austin, and it was still KetoCon before it turned to Hack Your Health. And that was where I found out about Sally Norton, actually. People had been talking about oxalate dumping in like threads in the community. And I was like, literally like, I don't know what that word is. I don't even care to be bothered figuring it out. And then I was going through some stuff and I was like, this is what's going on. And they were like, sounds like you're oxalate dumping. And I was like, okay, what is oxalates? I don't understand this. So then I started doing this deep dive and I was like, oh my gosh. So oxalates are these crystals. They're these anti-nutrients. For anybody who doesn't know what they are, they're anti-nutrients found in vegetables and plant foods, right? But here's the thing about them is they're these tiny little crystals, and where they are the most are like spinach and almonds and chia seeds and sweet potatoes. And so, and tea. And as a whole food, plant-based vegan for 4 years, I wanted to be so healthy, and I'm such a good compliant little patient that I would buy gallons and gallons and pounds of fresh spinach. And I would make a fresh spinach smoothie with my homemade, freshly made almond milk, by the way. I would have 2 to 3 of those a day so I could get all the nutrients in my body. And then I would have a huge salad in the middle of the day filled with spinach leaves. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And I had no idea, like, that the eye crust stuff and that the little sharp pains that you would feel throughout your body systemically, and even it can feel like arthritis, like oxalates are real. So about 2 months ago, and I thought I was in a Lyme flare, I had all of these symptoms. I'm embarrassed to share them, but I'm going to share them because I've been eating so clean. And I was doing so phenomenal up until about 2 months ago. And I thought it was just this Lyme flare. So then I ran into Sally Norton at Hack Your Health. And obviously, she didn't know what impact she had on me, because once I started deep diving, then I bought her book. I read her book cover to cover, realized what was happening, and applied some of her principles to minimize the oxalate dumping so that I could get from here to there. Anyway, so I was telling her, oh, I'm in a Lyme flare and these lights are so intense here at Hack Your Health in this convention center. And she looks at me and she goes, I have questions. And I was like, okay. And she was like, are you finding that you're getting a lot of tartar in your teeth? And I was like, yes. And it's so weird because you and I probably, anybody here who's carnivore knows your teeth start getting just fantastic because you're not putting any sugar and bacteria in there. And I was getting this like this tartar that I was like, what is going on? It was so weird. And then she was like, do you also find that you have like sand and grit and your eyes feel kind of crunchy? And I was like, yes. She was like, okay. And then what was the other question she asked me? Oh, and are you feeling like sharp pains? And I was like, yes. And I thought it was Lyme. And she was like, no, you are in a massive oxalate dumping flare. That's what's going on. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. She was like, okay, here's some things you need to do right away. You need to do the lemon juice in your water, and you need to get some calcium, because the reason you're getting all the tartar is because the oxalates are binding to the calcium in your teeth. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking like really fast, and I take very good care of my teeth. So, and it's a point of pride for me. And I was like, what is happening? Oxalates. Anyway, and that's like, I haven't really been eating any oxalates for the last almost 2 years. But what was funny was I was craving sweet potato. And then I've been practicing with like a little bit of keto flexing. It's not for me, but it was interesting to see what was happening with my body. And the fact that I actually am insulin sensitive now. But anyway, yeah, I lost like 45 pounds. And since really kind of dialing in on these points. But the main thing is my inflammation. Like, I got all my blood work and I was going over it with Dr. Ovadia because he's very proud of me. I'm technically a, lean mass hyper responder, except that I'm slightly obese per the scale. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And apparently that can happen with lipedema, but metabolically, I've been getting my body into probably the best state that it's been in all my life.
Have you ever had star fruit?
Yeah, briefly when I was vegan.
one of the highest in oxalates as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but
you
luckily,
can taste the oxalates in star fruit. You could it feels weird on your tongue.
Yes, that's why I didn't really eat it. It wasn't really my jam, but like mangoes and stuff.
I used to love it. I like sour.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like sour too, but that was for me was like lemons. when I was pregnant, I must have eaten, I would literally peel the lemons like an orange and eat them when I was pregnant with my first. I've had 4 kids. I have 6 grandchildren, and I'm not in menopause. Like it's a very interesting thing. I'm on this whole like journey to rebuild my body from the baseline up. But I think sugar is evil, and I know that it's delicious and everybody loves it, and that it's a part of our culture. The more I learn, the more I think that was very much planned. Not to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I don't think people realize all the countries that were built on the sugar industry, and the history of sugar is probably one of the darkest and worst histories in the world. Aside from the fact that it's incredibly addictive and people will do crazy things to get it. I'm dealing with the fallout of that with my own family because I have 4 kids and I have 6 grandchildren. They all have regular lives. They do try to be less toxic and more sugar-free and all of that, and they do humor me. They'll eat what I make and they love it, but they're not necessarily all sugar-free people. That's not totally their vibe, but they all eat sugar. And I want to share an interesting story that occurred. One, many people in and around my household are sick after eating all the sugar, which I was like, I made myself a totally different dessert. I was like, and I offered it to everybody, and they're all dealing with various, whatever this virus is that's going around. And I'm like, yeah, what people don't realize about sugar is that it actually blocks your white blood cell production at the bone marrow level. So what happens is when you, sugar doesn't make you sick. What sugar does is it makes it possible for you to get sick. So when you have these holidays and you give kids sugar and then you send them to school where there's these little germ breeding forests of playgrounds and joy, you've got all these kids that are surrounded by viruses and things like that, and their little white blood cells can't do what they need to do, so they get sick. So it's very interesting. And my husband has not had sugar for a bazillion years, and he is definitely an addictive personality, but I keep him very well reined in, and I make sure he has good stuff so he doesn't ever fall off the wagon. But he fell off the wagon, and so now he's sick. Like he never got sick. He's like, wow, this is amazing. And he had 2 of these like sugary muffins and just destroyed him. And I was like, well, okay, I'm sorry that you're going through that. Here's some water and here's some nutrients. I'm like trying to just help him through it. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. We have a few questions here.
Yeah.
Mary Freed asks, what book would you suggest is a must read?
For the oxalate thing is the obviously the Toxic Superfoods by Sally Norton. Yeah, Dr. Nelson has it right there. Boom, perfect.
And then the next question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, what do I eat in a day?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what I eat in a day. So I do have coffee. I have decaf coffee. I've been weaning myself off of caffeine. I'm actually doing, I don't know if you're familiar with Elizabeth Bright. I love her, and I am doing her protocol with the iodine, because that's kind of the next phase of what's very much not great with me. My thyroid's fine, but I don't think it totally is. So anyway, I'm doing a whole protocol with that. So I'm weaning off of caffeine so that I can also help my adrenals, because your cortisol raises in the morning. So I'm trying to exercise in the morning. I'm trying to do all of those things. I start out my day with, we make a big tri-tip twice a week. And then we shave the meat off of it, and I love it cold. So I'll have that with an organic. I do eat dairy, but my body tolerates it very well. I know some people don't. And I will do the full fat cottage cheese. And I will actually have a couple of blueberries. Like I said, I'm not 100% carnivore. So I try to have just, but that's about the only carbs that I have in the morning. And then I'll have deviled eggs, and I make the most amazing deviled eggs. I don't eat seed oils at all in any way, shape, or form. And I won't eat food products that have seed oils in them either. And then in the afternoon, I really only eat once or twice a day, to be perfectly honest. I'm trying to get better at that because I think I was having a little bit of adrenal stress, and that was really related to probably the oxalate dumping more than anything else. And so I'm trying to like keep that change. I think I'm at the tail end of perimenopause. ChatGPT says you're going into menopause, but you're not there. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying, and I got my
How
first.
can you be? You're only 39, right?
Yeah, I'm
You look
54.
it.
I am 54. But yeah, no, I got my first hot flash like 2 weeks ago. I was like, what is happening? No, I'm not doing this, which is what led me down the iodine and Dr. Elizabeth's research. I was like, no, I need to help I really believe that you can heal your body, and I'm always working on that. But I just eat, I love a good ribeye, honestly. I sprinkle a little bit of like the organ stuff on it. I don't like eating organs. I know some people don't mind it. It's not my thing. Please don't judge me.
love you.
It's all right.
We love you. Judge with love.
But that's really what I eat. We just eat mostly tri-tip, eggs, and I don't really eat that much bacon. I snack on butter all the time, like candy bars. Like I'll slice off chunks of it and be walking around the house eating those. So that's really what I eat. And I do track my ketones. So I just want to be clear about this. For me, being in a ketogenic state, I'm just going to simplify this. All of the research that I've done, I think that an animal-based diet is the natural human diet, first of all. I think that we were born to be in ketosis or ketogenesis more than anything else. And then, but we are flexible for a reason. So I do believe that that being able to run on glucose from time to time is necessary. I do believe that some plants were there for medicinal purposes, like where I have a candy company that's sugar-free and keto. And yes, I'll talk about that at the end. I know it sounds weird, but regular people still need good options. That's all I'm going to say. And if I had a dime for every person, even in this community, that confesses they're cheating, stop cheating in a way that super throws you off the wagon. It's too hard to get back on the wagon, and it's not worth it. So I created a brand with products that don't throw you off the wagon, but they're still candy. So you shouldn't be binging on them either. I know it sounds weird. I could make more profits. It's not my thing. So, oh shoot, I'm sorry I did that.
We're here to enjoy the sweetness of life.
Yeah. Well,
living in a house, driving a car, flying a plane, walking across the street are highly dangerous things. What we're doing,
our friend got hit by a car and hacked your health.
Correct. What we're doing here is embracing that we have the strength to minimize. And allulose, stevia are sugars that don't have the same adverse effects we think as cane sugar, which ultimately is the biggest drug of the universe. But I never cheat. I choose to treat in small amounts from time to time. And the fat is the critical part, and eating butter, like you're saying, reduces inflammation.
Yeah.
And I was going to just share this particular slide. And we see the cells at the bottom of this slide. And then we see these projections coming off of the cell. Those are the sugars of the cell called the glycocalyx.
Right.
And have you ever noticed that sugar dissolves sugar? And so because we consume a lot of plant sugars, it degrades this layer, and it basically creates increased permeability.
Yeah.
And when you mention about the bone marrow, I mean, basically the glycocalyx is on every cell of the body, and sugars are the most critical part of our body, but they're not our energy. Glucose is a glycosylating agent that's critical for cell-to-cell communication, not for energy. And so the problem is we're consuming a high plant-based diet, which contains a lot of different sugars that damage our glycocalyx and create the damage to the lymphatics, which causes lymphedema.
Right.
Or damages to the vessels or the bowels, which causes leaky blood vessels or bowels, which causes a lot of the damage. And so sugar is part of every single cell of every animal or organism we eat. So I think we need to understand that sugar is a critical part of our diet, but in different ways than we think. But by eating fat, we suppress the microbes in the gut, which also reduces inflammation. And I'm just wondering how much of the sugars basically feed the microbes that contribute to our problem.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's been proven over and over again, especially when people crave lots of sugar. If you haven't done like a good parasite cleanse. So having Lyme, right? When I found out I had Lyme, which was November of 2022, I didn't know. My doctor wanted to test me for Lyme, and I was like, I don't have Lyme. I'm the most unoutdoorsy human. I'm creative. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I live in Florida. I don't go hiking. I go to the beach. There's no way I would have gotten Lyme, because Lyme is a tick-borne illness anyway. And what they found out was he said, well, you have symptoms that are very indicative of Lyme. I just want to do testing. And all of the panels came back positive. The state of Florida called me to find out, do contact tracing on where I got Lyme. I was like, what is happening? And they did a specific test, which indicated that I've had Lyme for a very long time, which kind of made sense. And then I was like, okay, then I was doing all the deep dive on Lyme, which is a horrendous condition, genuinely. But the eliminating sugar. So one of the things is even for people that have long Lyme, when you join these Lyme communities, they're like, you can't even tackle the Lyme bacteria themselves without doing first a parasite cleanse, secondly, a mold detox, thirdly, a metal detox. Like there's actually a protocol. And I had to go through all of these things to get my health restored. But here's what I found is that when my body is in a ketogenic state as its primary state, I can tolerate and handle 90% of all the other stuff that happens in life. It reduces my reaction to chemicals. I'm very fragrance sensitive. I have all of those things, those other co-things. The lymphedema came from having lipedema. And the lipedema, I'm on a panel, like totally separate. I'm very big in the lipedema community. I'm on a monthly panel with experts and other patients that's sponsored by a big company that helps support women with lipedema. And lipedema affects 11% of women. It is like, it's how problematic is my lipedema now? That is such a great question. So I will tell you, when I was doing this keto flexing and I started introducing just gentle bits of good starches into my diet, all of my lipedema pain started coming back, and all of this. And I was just like, okay, I don't care if I am insulin sensitive or not. I don't think that this is ever going to be a part of my diet again, because my pain was from a chronic 7 at its peak, literally, like not even being able to be touched gently by my husband without flinching from the pain, to totally being able to like hold my I have 2 grandbabies that are like, one is 5 months and the other one's 8 months. And then I have 2 4-year-old, not from the same kids. So it's like, for me, I've got all the littles. They can sit on my lap, they can jump on my lap, and I'm okay. Anybody with lipedema will tell you that no,
it's inflammation.
It's such inflammation.
It's inflammation.
Exactly.
And so, but ultimately the inflammation is not caused by obesity.
No.
It's not caused by fat. It's caused by fiber. And it's caused by the plant-based low animal fat diet, which ultimately is the simple story here, right? There's not a complicated story. But we're all going to die of something. And what it is, I don't know. You know, it's sort of like preventing disease is kind of like you could stay in an isolated chamber, which is sterile, but that doesn't provide the beauty of life, right? You gotta get out there and do what you're doing, Siouxsie, and ultimately there's so much support out there for so many people. Where does faith and spirituality come in, do you think?
I think it's a key component of life. I mean, anything that reduces stress, and this is like, here's in this modern world, like we are hit with toxins, and the toxins that we are hit with and bombarded from all angles are not just environmental toxins. They are seeping into our mindset and the way this next generation functions. And if you don't have if you don't have faith and you don't have that understanding that we are all connected and that we are an important part of each other's lives, like that balance is so key. And I do feel like there are forces out there that are very much trying to destroy the spirituality, the connectivity of us together. I'm always talking about like the vitamin G and absolutely practicing gratitude and taking a moment to be grateful for those things. As a grandmother and a mother, I am obsessed with of making family time a very meaningful time. And I think that all of those components have to be a part of your life. I think that whatever your spiritual journey is, and people have different religious backgrounds, I very much believe in the divine, and I very much believe that there is God. Even, okay, I'm going to just tell you like something totally random that kind of blew my mind. So as having a candy company, I'm always looking for the things that will support the health journey that are functional at the same time as taste good, right? So when I'm looking and vetting ingredients, we found this high intensity sweetener, and it's called Katemfi fruit extract, and it's only found it's cultivated in West Africa. Here's the thing about it that kind of blows my mind. One, the only beings that can taste the sweetness are humans, and then some primates, particularly carnivorous ones. But other carnivores can't necessarily taste the sweetness. But like a lion who has an intestinal tract that's like this short, and they're designed to just eat any kind of meat, fine. Even though humans, yes, we are designed to eat meat. But if we stumble across a piece of meat that is riddled with parasites or, 8 hours old, and we don't have refrigeration, it could be a problem. But here's the thing about katemfi fruit. It naturally, stimulates the peptides that create bitters in your stomach, but it also has been shown to reduce like H. pylori bacteria by like 85%. And I am so like, the inner nerd in me is like, God has put all these different things in the environments where humans might mostly be hunters and gatherers. And it's even in the Aboriginal, there's certain plants that help to stimulate bitters, just like that. So like things that will support. You're not supposed to eat the entire salad, but to nibble on a little bit, to like keep the body functioning properly. Okay, fine. So anyway, that was, I believe that in all of these things, there is a pattern that we're supposed to be following for the most part. And if we do that, we'll thrive.
Well, the reason I eat ice cream is because it comes with a lot of fat.
Yes.
A lot of fat, small sugar.
Yeah.
A lot of fat, small protein.
Yeah.
Ultimately, proteins, amino acids, and sugars are metabolized exactly the same via insulin in the liver. And so the problem is most candy doesn't have a lot of fat.
Yeah, it's true.
And so a steak is basically a piece of candy with a lot of fat, which is the most delicious thing. And that's why ice cream, steak and ice cream.
That's true.
And it's meant to be enjoyed from time to time, but we've created an addiction on it's available and we have it all the time rather than sometimes.
Siouxsie, tell us about your company and the products that you make.
Well,
and why? And I have a specific question. Why did you land on the specific sweetener that you use?
Absolutely. Okay. So I never expected to do this, just so you know, like 100%. I was already very much involved in the keto community and just trying to get my own body to optimum. And I would make my own gummy bears in between travels. My husband and I were doing a lot of travel. This was prior to COVID. And so in 2020, I was making a lot of gummy bears. And here's the reason why, is because there are sugar-free gummy bears that are on the market, but they contain ingredients that I don't like. And they also spiked my blood sugar. And like the Smart Sweets ones would kick me out of ketosis. And I was like, I thought that there was something wrong with me. I wasn't the nerd that I am today. But I decided to just start making my own products. And when I was doing extensive research on the sweeteners that were used by other companies, I didn't find that they were actually blood sugar friendly and that there was more to them. So, which landed me on allulose. And allulose, which is interesting because now it's been 5 years since I first discovered and started using allulose myself. And what I love about allulose is, yes, it's a rare sugar. So it is actually a rare sugar that's found in trace amounts in nature. And it's kind of like fructose's good twin, meaning all the stuff that fructose does, it does the opposite of. So and I've seen this over and over and over again. None of my products spike blood sugar. None of my products kick people out of ketosis, not even like anecdotally once here or once there or sometimes here. Like I test my own ketones. I test my own blood sugar. I wear a continuous glucose monitor and I won't use an ingredient that impacts blood sugar. But it also led me to researching all of the deep sides of food manufacturing. what does it say? I've been wanting to see you to thank you for encouraging me. Blood test came out. Oh, that's great. That's for you, obviously. Right?
Or Dr. Nelson?
No,
Yeah.
that's for Papa Carnivore.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
They're
that.
having a
Oh,
conversation.
okay.
They're having a conversation.
Oh, that's lovely. Anyway, what I was going to say was there's a lot of ingredients that are in foods and that are in candies and are in products that are even keto. I am telling you, there's a huge keto brand that like universally almost always spikes people's blood sugar, and they have ingredients that they should not have. And for me, I started making my own gummy bears because one, I wanted a way to get gelatin, and two, I wanted it to I have a loose connective tissue disease. I don't have a huge sweet tooth, but I thought it would be a nice way to get a little bit of protein, a little bit of snack. I would have loved to put some fat in there, but I just, for me, it was just for myself. And then I, snack on butter anyway. So, I was making a lot of them during COVID, and my husband casually said we should bring them to market. And I was like, what? I don't even know anything about this arena. Like, what are you talking about? But the more research I did, it actually became a passion project, because the truth of it is they're in real life, especially in the world of children, like they are surrounded by garbage all day long. As a parent, trying to control birthday parties at school, social functions, sleepovers, it can be a nightmare. And there needs to be better options, period. And telling a parent that they should just feed their kid, like, well, just give them a real banana. Okay. Do you actually have children at a birthday party? Have you tried to give a child a banana at a birthday party that they're attending with their friends while everybody else is eating cake? Because you're going to have a really pissed off child that's resentful. And there just has to be better solutions. I just want to share like one little story that happened over the weekend. So an extended member of our family, like related to, had an emergency situation occur in their life. And what it was is their little boy, he's barely 4, was found himself being like incredibly thirsty all the time and needing to drink tons of water and not really eating very much food, and wasn't feeling great. And they thought that he just had a flu. And then
Type 1.
Absolutely. And so what happened was they thank goodness that they went to ChatGPT. I actually felt bad that if I had been around them at all, I would have the thirstiness. I would have been like, have you checked his blood sugar? This is a very bad signal. We have a huge amount of type 1 diabetic children that eat our products. Like I found this whole army of type 1 diabetic moms. My gummy bears are the only ones that they can give their kids without dosing insulin, like at all. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. So for me, I come from this background where I've wanted to understand, because type 1 diabetes hasn't impacted me. And yes, my gummy bears are safe for young. Yes, they are. They don't have maltitol either, and they don't have the sugar alcohols that most keto stuff comes with. Like, don't give this to your children. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but here's what happened to this little kid. They went on ChatGPT, thank goodness, and they were like, his unquenchable thirst is an indicator of his blood sugar. You need to get that tested right away. They took him to the hospital. They did a urinalysis, and then they followed it with a blood test. His blood sugar was over 600. I was literally like,
why?
Oh my God. And the thing is that this beautiful family, like the mom has been taking really great care of the kid, and he just started school. So like, just to give you like where she was controlling all of his food as a stay-at-home mom, and then he just started school, and now he's got all the type 1 symptoms that have, and not that they wouldn't have come about eventually anyway, but like type 1 diabetes, you have a pancreas that cannot produce insulin. It becomes a requirement, and what that child is exposed to becomes a situation. There needs to be better options. So for me, I ended up, with my gummy bears, and then my husband created caramels. The caramels are really hot, but like we're sold out right now, and we're bringing our manufacturing in-house so that I can control cross-contamination of sugar and seed oils, because we don't use any seed oils in any of our products or in any of our sub-ingredients. And then I created the pancake syrup. So I love allulose because it does stimulate GLP-1 and it reduces inflammation. I have a carnivore pancake recipe that I make, and I really missed pancake syrup. So I invented my pancake syrup, which Dr. Dulcet's holding up for you right now. It's
My wife and my son use it not only for pancakes, but for sweetening other things.
Yeah, they put it on bacon. They put it on. So my daughter-in-law's mother, like totally different family, not sugar-free at all. We were at a big family thing, and she comes over to me and she goes, "Oh, Susie, your pancake syrup's amazing." She said, "I use it on salmon." I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, they're not even sugar-free, but she makes maple crusted salmon. I'm just saying, like, in the real world of like actual people, there needs to be more products that support that. Yeah. No, I get all kinds of texts. It's the best. It really is. Mainly because we can't control, right? Oh, I understand. That is, I homeschooled my kids for many, many years. And I have a story about Ariel, which was part of my youngest daughter. She's now over 30, but when she was little, she used to freak out when she would have sugar. She'd get very emotional, and she was my very high-strung, dramatic daughter. And I learned very quickly that she actually couldn't tolerate sugar. And I just was like, So at school, I told them, I said, "Look, if there's going to be a party or something, you can't give her sugar. Her body doesn't handle it well. I will bring something to school if there's going to be a party or something so that she doesn't feel excluded." And they were like, "Oh, okay." But there's school. I was a teacher for a period of my life also. So I understand when you're in a school environment, you're not going to be able to always remember to call that weird parent that's super crunchy and granola that's like, "Don't let my kid eat this." So they didn't, right? So I go to pick up Ariel after school, and the rest of my kids, there's 4 of them. And Ariel comes up, and her big brown eyes, she has big eyes like me, but they were filled with tears. And I was like, "What's happening?" And she was like, "They had a party today at the school, and they excluded her. Like, she had to sit at a different table while they were all eating the junk food." And I was like, as a mom, I was like, "No, just give her the cake." Like, the emotional trauma that just got done to my little 7-year-old daughter is like not awesome. Anyway, I just, the more I do this and the more stories that I hear from parents, just like, there is a world for candy products and processed foods that are not full of garbage, legitimately. So part of our purpose also is to help other founders in this arena and to change the landscape. I do believe that if something says it's keto, it should actually be keto, which means it cannot kick you out of ketosis. And if it does, then take that label off your packaging because you're full of it and it's not okay. But
Susie, do you have any products that are high in fat?
I do. Well, my caramels are pretty good. And then we're releasing a new Fruity Chew, which we kind of unveiled, which is made with MCT oil. It's a much more balanced, and it is a candy. It's like a Starburst. I feel bad because it's almost a little addictive, but literally still it's candy, you guys. Treat it like candy. Do not eat 7 bags of my gummy bears, first of all. And it does have soluble fiber for a reason. I'm not here to debate that right now, but that was an intentional ingredient in all of my products. It doesn't have any other shady things, but the thing about soluble fiber for somebody like me who has a difficult detox pathway, every time I go to the bathroom, every time I eat, my body releases bile, right? My liver and my gallbladder, they release the bile, and the bile does the cleanup. 95% of that gets restored if there's no soluble fiber. So what I found for me in trying to do carnivore, there were two things that helped it make it possible for me to be as almost zero carb as I am. And that was soluble fiber, believe it or not, and the oxalate mediation and handling that. And the soluble fiber, the reason why, I'm just going to say it, isn't to make you poop. Okay, fine. You're absorbing all your nutrients when you're carnivore. I'm not worried about the pooping part. Well, I am, because if that bile, if it doesn't clean up everything, and if there's no soluble fiber, it's going to get restored. So what I did was soluble fiber binds to all of the bile circulating in your body and forces it out with your next bowel movement. So for me, it was a way of cleaning out my body every day, which, as somebody with lipedema, I needed that, because as my fat melts on my body, it releases toxins that are stored in the fat. And I have to have a way to get that out. And I found soluble fiber actually helps with that. And then I was like, obviously the more I get in the keto community, and I understand, I'm not saying that you should be eating roughage. I'm not saying you should do that at all, but that's not what soluble fiber is. It's more of a gelatinous thing, and then it binds to all
What's
of
the source of the
soluble? We use soluble tapioca fiber as ours. It's organic. The thing about there's different grades, Dr. Kiltz, just so you know. So what we found out the hard way is that there is soluble fiber that still has sugar in it and still has garbage in it. It's kind of like, not that anybody here drinks, but it's something that you guys, maybe in your younger years, maybe not, I don't know, but you have different levels of alcohol. You have top shelf, right? Which is like the pure and very, very high level. You have the same thing in grocery. And then you have mid-level, and then you have the well drinks. Those are the ones that are going to give you a catastrophic hangover and a million other things because they're garbage, right? The same thing is true of food ingredients in the food space, 100%. But because I'm so relentless and so ruthless about every ingredient, and then I vet them, I get their certificate of origin, I do their certificate of analysis, I have third-party testing done on ingredients, I have custom formulated ingredients that, like, they can hide seed oils, maltodextrin, and I change those. And I just don't let it happen in my products.
What's the website?
Oh, it's at switchsweets.com. Switch? Yeah, switchsweets.com.
Put it up in the,
We used to be called Scrummy Sweets, and then we changed to Switch, because my purpose is to help people switch to better. And it will involve more of, like, even detoxing your life and, lifestyles and all of that.
All right.
I love that.
Before we go to the giveaway,
but I want
the giveaway, I want to bring up this last question, because I think there's a little bit of a confusion. Lipedema and lymphedema are not the same thing. And I think the person who's asking here,
I love this question.
Maybe learning a little bit more about it, but no, lipedema is not an on and off thing. Lymphedema could be. Anyways, do you have any comments? No,
lipedema is a chronic condition, but your wife is managing it. That's what that means. I mean, I'm not here to give medical advice, but being in the lipedema community for a million years, I will tell you that, yes, the key to it is reducing inflammation. And you add inflammation, like my legs, I was trying to, have a little bit of sweet potatoes and keto flex, and my legs paid for it. And so did my sleep. It's terrible.
But it doesn't just go away.
But it doesn't go away. No, it doesn't go away.
That's why I think the person is confusing the two terms, which are very similar and related, but not the same. Anyways, let's give away something.
Let's do it. What do you want to give away?
We're going to give away some of your gummy bears, but not for them. Nobody here is going to eat them. They need to give them specifically to their grandchildren or children.
Yeah.
Here we go. They can eat them.
you can enjoy them from time to time. They're
Well,
not
I have had them,
all the
and I,
time. Yes,
and
we can.
I bought them at Hack Your Health again.
Oh, wow.
that's awesome.
Tucong,
Congratulations,
Please email me,
Tucong.
Alia@drkiltz.com.
Right on. Woo!
You know what to do. Email me and your address, and we will get you some. Congratulations. Yay. Thanks, Susie. This was great.
Today
Yeah.
at 3 p.m., Jen Man in our live stream at 3 p.m. and at 5:30, Zoom call in the community. Okay.
Thank you so much
That's
for
right.
having me on, you guys. That was awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
And as always, Dr. Kiltz.
Susie will be speaking at our event, right? In February.
Yeah.
We'll be speaking at our event.
Yeah.
We're excited
Yes.
about that.
I'm excited too. Let's make the journey easier for everybody. Let's make it easier for our whole families to be healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. All right, everybody. See you later today. Goodbye.